Hi thinkers, welcome to the Android development course on ThinkX Academy. In this tutorial basically I'm going to give you a tour of this whole Android Studio, because in the previous tutorial we installed Android Studio, we installed a theme and some icon packs. Now what I want the tutorial to be beginner friendly. So before jumping onto the programming part, we are first going to learn about all the basic stuff that is related to the Android Studio. We need to understand the directory or the project structure of Android Studio, and then only we will be able to do the programming part. Alright, so let's jump into this whole Android Studio. Now here you can see we have the project, and we can also switch to different structures, like we can switch to Android here, and you can see it shows a different type of structure, but mostly we are going to use the project structure. And you can see in the project structure we have a ThinkX Android application project which we have created. Now here you can see, if I expand, here are a bunch of directories. We are going to learn about them, what are their uses, and you can see this is the app directory, which is our main app, and here you can see the Gradle directory. So basically Gradle is a tool which is used to build the whole app so that we can directly deploy it inside of any real device or any virtual device like an emulator. Then we have the build.gradle file. This is a very important file. Now this, if you will double click, it will open a file something like this. Now you can see on the top it says build.gradle, and in the brackets it says ThinkX. The reason why it says ThinkX here, the reason is that this build.gradle belongs to the ThinkX project. Here inside of app, if you will expand, you can see there is another build.gradle file, and if you will double click, you can see that this build.gradle file is corresponding to the app structure. So basically we have two build.gradle file. One is for the ThinkX Android project, right? So here you can see we have some dependencies. Here you can see some dependencies. This one is the Android tools dependencies. In the future we will install some more dependencies here when we want to use in the project, and you can see it has some repositories of Google and JCenter. And you can see there is a task to clean up the project, right? So this is the build.gradle of the ThinkX, which you can see here. The most important one is this build.gradle file, which belongs to the app structure, which is this one. In this build.gradle file, we specify the Gradle, what are the libraries or what are the SDK versions we are using. Now I'm just assuming that you are a complete beginner to Android Studio, so you do not have any knowledge of what these things are, so I'm going to explain them, right? So we start from the plugins part, where we just define the ID of the application, which is com.android.application. Now important part is this one, which is the Android part, right? You can see it goes from here till here. So in this Android part, the first thing is compile SDK version. You can see this is set to 30. Now what is a compile SDK version? First of all, SDK is actually the software development kit, and 30 is a reference that we are using. The SDK version is 30, and we have already seen that we have different SDK versions for different Android versions. So let's say we have Android Nougat. For that we have a different SDK version, and for Android Lollipop we have a different SDK version, right? So compile SDK version is that when we are going to compile this application on our local machine, we are going to compile it, right? So the SDK version that it is going to use is 30. You can see here we have another minimum SDK version here, which is in the default config. So minimum SDK version is 21, and remember that we have set this minimum SDK version when we have installed the Android Studio. So the SDK version 21 corresponds to the Android 5, which is Lollipop. So by default our Android application is going to support all the devices which has a minimum SDK version 21 and later. So basically SDK tools are required to develop this whole software or the application, and basically SDK is this. There are three SDK versions. You can see one is the target SDK version, minimum SDK version, and compile SDK version. And we need to understand the difference between all of them, because if you do some wrong things here, then it will impact the whole compilation of the application and deployment also. So we have target SDK version, which is 30, and it basically means that we are going to run this application inside of the Android version which corresponds to the SDK version 30, right? So basically Android SDK version is, I think 30 is, it belongs to Android 11. So it means that we are going to run our application from Android Studio in 30, which is the SDK version. Next is the version code, which is 1, and we have a version name 1.0. Version code is important because when we are providing some updates to the application, we will keep changing the version code also. Then we have this test instrumentation runner, which is used to test or to run the JUnit test, which we will discuss in detail when we will come to the testing part. Now we have build types here, right? You can see in this we have release, minify enabled, false, and ProGuard files. Now this is some advanced stuff, right? ProGuard is basically used for the optimization of our Android application, or to do the deobfuscation of the code, right? Which is some advanced stuff, so you can completely ignore it. And as a beginner, I will just suggest you that there are so many things in Android Studio. I will tell you what you should concentrate as a beginner and what you should ignore. So basically you need to ignore this part. Then we have the compile options. You can see we have source compatibility and target compatibility. So it basically means that when you see when the Java version gets updated, there are some libraries which actually depends on the previous Java versions. For example, let's say you used a library which has a support of Java 8, and now you are actually using the same application in a device which has the Java version 10, right? So in that case, it will not be able to run the application or the libraries properly, and even I have faced this issue. So adding these two will obviously improve the SDK version, and basically it means that the older libraries of the Java versions are also supported, right? So I ignored it as a beginner, but when I deployed my application, I understood that it is a really very important thing, and if it is not enabled, you're going to get a lot of trouble if you're using any libraries running on Java version 8. Alright, so let's move on to this part. Again, this is the very important part, which is the dependencies. We will be using a lot of libraries like Retrofit, Wally library, and there are some more libraries for image processing also, and some material theme. You can see that these all are actually libraries. So whatever library we want to include in our project, we will have to write it here. We will use the word keyword implementation, and then we will specify the version and the name of the library. For example, you can take a look at this line. It says com.google.android.material, right? So basically this is the material UI library. So it means that you can actually use the material theme inside of your Android application. Similarly, we will include all the extra libraries, and you will be able to learn how to add libraries and use it inside of your project. So in all this in this build.gradle file, the most important thing is dependencies, right? Everything is already set for you. You will change the version code only when we will update the app and we want to push it on the Play Store, right? So the important thing is dependencies inside of build.gradle of the application, right? Not the ThinkX project, not this one, right? It will be here. Now let's move on to some other bunch of files which are very important. Now you can see we have settings.gradle, and they're not necessary. You can read them if you want to. Local dot properties specifies the location of the SDK that you are using. Alright, so we have all of this. Now let's move on to the app directory. In app we have the build file, right, which is, again, you can ignore that as a beginner. And then you have these ProGuard rules. Again, you can ignore this one also. And then you have this source directory. So I'm going to expand the source directory, and in this directory you can see we have three subdirectories, which is Android test, main and test. Again, we are going to ignore all the directories and we are going to focus on the main directory. In the main directory we have two subdirectories, and these are the very important directories in Android Studio, because most of the time you are going to work on these two directories. So if you remember, in the very first tutorial of this Android development series, we discussed that we can divide Android development into three parts. The first part is related to understanding Android Studio basics, which we have done, and the second step is to understand the UI, which is done in XML, right? So for UI part, the rest directory is used, right? So if I expand this directory, you can see there are so many directories here, right? No need to worry, I will explain all the uses of all these subdirectories also. And here we have the Java subdirectory, and this is the directory which we are going to use to code in Java. And this will basically we will use this to add functionality to the UI, right? For example, we create a button, we will design it in the res directory, and we will implement the function. For example, if you click a button, you want to do something from that button, so for that we are going to use the Java file, right? So first we are going to understand the design, right? So the series is actually divided into two parts. The first part will be related to design, and then we will move to the coding part in Java. So first of all, we need to understand how XML works inside of the Android Studio. Well, it's not that much difficult, but if you will not pay a lot of attention, it will create a lot of problems in the conceptual part, right? So before moving to the res directory, where we have all the UI part, I want you to focus on this file. It is also a very important file, right? So the first important file I showed you was build.gradle. The second file is android manifest.xml, right? Let's open this file and take a look at this. Now you can see it says a lot of things here, right? It says that this is the XML file. First of all, you need to understand this is the XML file which starts from like these tags, right? You do not need to memorize these tags. Even I don't memorize these tags. These are automatically created for you, so no need to memorize these, right? So basically this is an XML file. Focus on this part here, which is the manifest tag. It just says XML NS means name servers, right? So it is actually going to say that we are going to use the name servers http schemas.android.com/apk/res/android, right? So no need to, again, you do not need to memorize these whole URLs. It is automatically created for you. This is the package name, which is important because in the when you will publish your app, you will have to you can use your every app inside of the Play Store has a different package name, right? Now here we have the application tag, right? So from here onwards we are going to do the work. Now remember these tags, you do not need to memorize it. Again, I am saying that. Now here if you move on application, you can see there are a bunch of Android tags, right? The first says allow backup equals to true. Okay, then we have icon, right? So for the application, we are going to specify the first of all, see the format in XML. We first used Android, and then we used a colon and icon, which specifies the icon of the app, right? So you can see that it specifies that the app icon is actually located in the @mipmap library /IC launcher, right? So this is the you can see if I hover my mouse here, you can see here we have the icons, and you can see they are of different resolution. You can see mipmap MDPI, right? So for different devices we have different devices have different resolutions, and for this reason we need so many resolutions of a single image to support all the resolutions. So you can see mipmap MDPI has a resolution 48 by 48, and similarly we have HDPI, which is HD version, which is 72 cross 72, and similarly we have all these images. Now this is the icon of the image, right? And if you want to change it, you can change it. Here you have the rest file. In the rest file you can see all these mipmap folders, right? You can see all these mipmap folders. It starts from MDPI, HDPI, XDPI, and all of these, right? So you can create your own logo. For example, you can see iclauncher.png is here, but what you need to remember is that you will have to create the logo for all these resolution, right? So let's try to change the logo here, right? The way to do is you can actually just right click, and here you have the new option. In the new option you can change the vector asset, right? And here if you will click, it will show you a vector asset something like this. You can choose some local file from here also, and then you can finish it. We will do it in a separate tutorial when we will design the application part, but yes, at this point you should understand this is where the icon is located. Now we have the label ThinkX, which is the name of the app. So if I double click, it will show that it is located in the @string. Means that it is located in this directory, and app name means this is the name of the app, right? So if you go in values, right, values, and you have the strings.html, you can see we have an XML format. In the resources tag we have a string name equals to app name, and you can see the app name is ThinkX, right? So basically values folder, which is this directory, has 3 subdirectories. The first one is the string directories, where we can specify any string and we can use it anywhere inside of the Android application, right? So it's like once you if you feel that some string you are using in the application for lots of time, you can just define it here, and you can use it inside of the XML file using this @string/app name. Then you have the themes file, where you can specify the theme of the app, right? You can see it has a material components. We will come to this later, right? First we will discuss the Android manifest, and here it says that we have a round icon, because in some you can say in some Android versions we need the round icons also. So if you go here in the mipmap folder, there is a round version of the app icon also. Now here we have the theme, which is @styletheme.thinkx. Now coming to this thing, this is a very important tag, and basically this activity tag, right? You can see it the XML is forming a tree like structure, you can say. So the directory goes from application, which is the super directory. Inside the application we have activities, right? We will discuss about all the activities. Basically activity is just a one screen, which you will see in the later coming tutorials. We will discuss a lot about activity, but for the time being you can see that it is actually, its name is .main activity. So main activity is, we already know, it's our Java file. So basically we create the main activity, which is our sort of a main class thing in Java. So this is how we define the main activity, and these are basically some intent filters. We will discuss about them. What are intents, right? It is a separate tutorial again for advanced. For the time being you can ignore this part also, right? So in Android manifest you just need to understand this part only, right? We will come to the activity part in the further tutorials, right? So if you want to change the icon, you can change the icon in IC Launcher, right? From here you can delete this, and then you can actually create a new icon and replace it with here. So this is the Android manifest file, very important file. One more thing is that in this file only we set permissions also. Android permissions are very important. It is again an advanced topic, and basically Android versions are used to provide the information to the Play Store that we are using these types of permission. For example, if we are using the storage of a device, so you are using the storage permissions, and you will specify all of that in Android manifest, right? So build.gradle file is important, and then we have the Android manifest.xml. Now coming to the rest folder, you can see we have some subdirectories here. Here we have the mipmap directories. We have seen what these mipmap directories are. We can actually specify the images here that we are using. Now in the drawable, you can see we have two drawable subdirectories of resolution folder. We have drawable and we have drawable for version 24, because it will support the version, the SDK version 24 also, right? So inside of the drawable, you can see we have a IC Launcher background. If I double click, it will open these two files, right? Now we do not need to go into the whole technical details of what exactly this is, right? But basically drawable is the folder where we can actually create some new vector assets and some images, and we can actually use them inside of the Android application. And in this way we can create all the images inside of this. We will come to this folder also in the later tutorials. Now we have the most important one, which is the layout, right? So every Android app has some layout. So if you expand this directory, there is an activity main.xml. If you double click, you can see it shows you something like this. From here you can see there is a code and split one also. So if you click on code, it will show you the code. I always switch to the split one. I like the split one. So if I zoom in, right, so you can see here it shows the layout of the main activity, and basically you can see here inside of main activity in Java, we are actually setting the content view to r.layout. Layout is basically this folder, and activity main is the activity main.xml, right? So we are using this layout and we are connecting it to the Java file, which is the main activity, and here we define the whole layout of the activity that we are using. Again, you do not know the actual concept of activity, but in simple words at this point I will say that it just displays a screen inside of your app. Your app can have multiple layouts. For example, if you have WhatsApp and you click on some image, or if you want to message someone, you click on the text. So after clicking that, it will open another screen inside of your application, which is not basically a different screen, but it is a different activity. We will discuss about them later, but yes, this is the folder where we will be working. We will create some layouts in here. You can see this is the constraint layout. From the name here you can see this is the constraint layout. We will discuss all the types of layout. I'm just giving you an idea of what just a simple tour of this. You do not need to understand each and everything at this point, right? So if you are getting confused of what exactly this is, no need to worry. I will teach all of this from scratch to all of you as a beginner friendly tutorials. We will understand everything. So I'm just giving you an idea of the whole project directory, because it is important to understand at this point. So in layout we have all the layouts, or you can say the UI or the design of the activities or the application, and inside of Java we have the functionality so that we can code in Java, right? Now I'm going to close this, and now we have some options in here also. So let's take a look at this option. This is the SDK manager, right? If you open it, it will show you the SDK version you are using. You can see the API level is 30, right? And we have installed it. So 30 API level means the SDK, the target SDK was also 30. You can see if I open up this build.gradle file, you can see it was showing target SDK version as 30, and you can see the version 30 is actually corresponding to Android 11. If you want to work on a device which has Android 9 or let's say Android 10, you will have to install the SDK version, and you will have to make sure that the SDK version, the target SDK version and the compile SDK version is also corresponding to that, right? So you can change it here also. Now coming to the next part, you can see we have an AVD manager. Here we can manage a virtual device. So let's say you want we have used Pixel 3a which has API level 30, and let's say you want to test your application in Android 9 device because you are getting some you basically can say some bugs are there in your app which are not supported for Android 9. So how you're going to do that? You can click on the create virtual device, and then you can choose an app. You can choose any device with some you can say dimensions. Just press next, and you can now here select whatever version you want to use, right? Just download that version and it will create a virtual device for you, but we are going to use this Android Pixel 3a, right? So this is the AVD manager here, a very small icon here, just in the right side of the SDK manager, right? Now coming to this down part, this is the Logcat. Logcat is very important because there are times when we want to debug some parts of the application, or we want to see what part is working, right? So we can actually display some results here in the Logcat to check whether they are working or not. Then we have Profiler. Profiler is we will use it when we will be discussing about the performance of the application. Then we have the terminal here, right, which will basically open the terminal and we can perform some commands here. Then we have to do, right? So to do is very important, and I use to do a lot of times. For example, in this Java file, right, you can open the main activity, and let's say I want to learn what is the right. So how to create a to do? You can use / and to do, and then you can specify what you want to do, right? So to do is something like a task thing which you can deploy in the activity. And let's say I want to understand, right? I'm going to write here understand what is an activity, right? What is activity? This is the question, and let's say we want to learn it, so we can put these to do's. Now what is the important thing? Even if you close it and you are using some other file, just go on to do, and here it will show you that you have one to do here, and if you expand this, it will show you that here is your to do, right? So a very handy tool, right? All right, so we have studied a lot of things. We have understood a lot of things in here. Hope you have liked this tutorial. We will understand more and more things as we will move on to some advanced concepts when we will use some libraries. So that's all for this tutorial. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like this video and also subscribe our channel.